What price should you buy the stock? Hello, fellow investors. I'm screening CHD stock, Church and Dwight Company Inc., still under the household and personal products of the consumer defensive stocks. They are the makers of this famous baking soda brand. CHD, current price is 92.66, market cap of 22.5 billion with PE ratio of 28.43. It pays out an annual dividend of $1.05 per share, a yield of 1.13% of the current price. It's now down 12% of the highs. First metric, we want an EPS multiple lower than 3. It's 8.69. It's expensive. This is PE divided by the EPS. I believe the PE is what we're paying for in a stock. Based on the EPS history below, the EPS has always been this low, meaning it's the PE we need to be looking at. Should it really trade at these levels of PEs or not? EPS is increasing, good. OSN is decreasing, good. They bought back 5 million shares in 5 years. Second metric, we want to pay a dollar or less for 1% of the money they're making, meaning we want to pay 1 PE or less for 1% of their margins. Their margins play around 14 to 18%. We'll use the lowest margin to base our assumptions and fair values from. I use 14.16 here, the 10-year average net income margin, to divide the current PE of 28.43. 2.01 times is the multiple we're paying if we buy CHD stock at these prices. I use 17.87 here as the highest margin to discount our margin of safety from. I use the normal 30% MOS. From this, my entry PEs would be 12, 13, and 14. Based on the revenue growth, I don't recommend paying premium for this single-digit growth. Third metric, we want to pay a lower PE than their price to free cash flow. But the price to free cash flow has to be below 20, or I won't consider buying the stock based on this metric. Price to free cash flow trailing 12 months is 23.99. I won't buy CHD stock for this particular metric. Fourth metric is designed for dividend-paying stocks. For CHD stock, you might want to consider buying the stock below 12.92 PEs. This is their margins once dividends are discounted. Payout ratio is 32.05%. I want to think their dividends are safe. Fifth and last metric is historical PE, historical price of free cash flow, and historical PB. Compared historically, CHD stock is expensive now. Historical PE is at 20s. I don't think it should trade at those levels. I think it should trade at mid to high teens, like 14 to 18 PEs, consistent with their margins. Price to free cash flow, I have an allowable of 20. Equivalent price for that is $77.27. Same with PB ratio. I have an allowable PB of 5. Equivalent price is $70.08. Any price above $70.08, I won't consider buying because then I'd be buying CHD above 5 PB. I don't think it's a crazy growing company to pay a higher PB ratio, so that's why. This is some other financial metrics for CHD stock. PB ratio is 6.61. My allowable is only 5. Current ratio is weak for the quarter, 0.65. We want this above 1. I say their debt is somehow manageable. This is CHD stock valuation summary. All red, implying overvaluation. Trading at 8.69 times EPS, 2.01 times their margins, and 1.2 times their historical parameters. The stock is overvalued, trading at a premium. Now, identify why is that premium. Is it a monopoly? Do they dominate the space? I don't know. I don't own the stock. I don't think you should pay premium for the stock. I have a seller rating for the stock. Never short, just let the stock be. Current price I'm screening it is at $92.66. I have fair value for CHD stock of $46.31. Guru Focus's intrinsic value is $50.3. So, out of my fair values, here are my entry PEs and prices. 12, 13, 14, and a high price of $45.78. Let's compare these prices with their charts. This is CHD stock charts on the monthly, barely a pullback, an indication of very few selling and more of holding. That's why it's overvalued. 2% dividend yield is $52.5. 3% dividend yield is $35. My fair value is $46.31. 70.08 here is my PB allowable at 5. I could enter the stock here at 70 for a trade, given that the stock is still in a bullish mode, no one is selling. For long-term entry, I'd only recommend buying CHD stock, any price below $46. That's my take on CHD stock. Subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts below. See you next video.